Hello, my name is Justin Thompson. I'm a student in LBSC 708C. Today we're going to examine the Black Books controversy of General David Petraeus. Um, to start, David Petraeus was arguably the most famous general or military mind in my lifetime. He was really the only general I remember hearing his name growing up. He was an architect of the Iraq War and the as well as in Afghanistan, and he was eventually a director of the CIA, but his career ended in court. The controversy and the focus of this presentation is about eight black books, which were more than just journals. These were personal notebooks that General Petraeus maintained during his time as a commander of the U.S. forces in Afghanistan. The official narrative of his actions and um, the government secrets that he shared are also mixed in with the love affair with Paula Broadwell there. Um, the case remains to this day a subject of a lot of speculation. Many people point out that there were a lot of differences in how this case was handled compared to other more lower ranking people who had shared government secrets. And a big debate about whether he received special treatment, um, and even suggesting conspiratorially that maybe rivals in the intelligence community performed a bit of a coup and like a soft exit for him, using this as justification for that. Um, so to start, we have to look at what was actually in the notebooks. These were more than just journals or diaries. According to reports from the FBI and the Department of Justice, these were books that contained top secret and sensitive information, including identities of covert officers, war strategy, details of meetings with even the President of the United States and other high-ranking government officials. In 2011, Petraeus stepped away from his military command and into the CIA as a director. And so he was legally required in that time to do a records out processing, which is a standard procedure where a departing um, government official identifies records and turns them over to the government. But instead, Petraeus kept these journals in his private residence. Uh, the controversy really began when he shared the notebooks with a biographer, Paula Broadwell. He did not just show them to her, he provided them to her for multiple days and again in an unsecured environment. I believe it was personal residence. The FBI's discovery of these materials during a separate investigation into Broadwell's activities led to a big security scandal and ultimately forced Petraeus to resign from the CIA in November of 2012. So a pretty short stay there at the CIA. Um, the legal framework around this case is anchored around this Executive Order 13526, where all secret information must be protected to prevent damage to national security. Um, the primary legal issue here was that Paula Broadwell had no need to know. Um, and even if a person does have security clearance, which Paula did as she was an Army Reserve officer, they're only permitted the access to that specific information if it is necessary to perform their official duties. And this was obviously, she was acting as a biographer. She was not acting as someone who needed to know this classified information. Um, Furthermore, Petraeus violated protocols regarding the physical security of classified materials. According to the Department of Defense, their National Industrial Security Program Operating Manual, or NISPOM, top secret materials must be stored in a special facility called a sensitive compartmented information facility. By storing the black books in an unlocked, um, easily available desk drawer or on top of a desk in his private residence, Petraeus bypassed security controls and controls that were designed specifically to prevent this. Um, Eventually, Petraeus did plead guilty to a single misdemeanor charge of, quote, unauthorized removal and retention of classified material. And this is where the conspiratorial speculation begins. A lot of people point to this misdemeanor plea as a serious reduction of what would normally be felony charges for people like Thomas Drake, or you look at Trump's Mar-a-Lago incident, where a lot of people are essentially, uh, for lack of a better word, hanged for this kind of behavior. Uh, it shows a legal double standard, and um, it suggests that a lot of times these rules can be used to give someone a soft exit um, with the threat of larger penalties. For lessons for us people getting into records management or archives, um, this case provides a lot of lessons and acts as a sort of a cautionary tale. The Society of American Archivists has core values and a code of ethics. And when you look at those, we look at the value of security and protection of these information. Um, that code of ethics says, quote, archivists must protect all documentary materials for which they are responsible, and in the and main ensuring that a chain of custody is never broken. This case illustrates again a failure of out processing. A high-ranking official leaves a post, and the archivist or records managers um, they need to be empowered to verify that all those materials, including personal notebooks, are properly maintained. Another thing, um, this points out a challenge in defining federal records. To me, it's pretty simple to err on the side of caution, but um, there sometimes is a blurry line between what is a personal note or what is a federal record, what is something that needs protecting. Again, simple, err on the side of caution to me. If a notebook contains information created or received in the course of your government business, it's a federal record. It's regardless of whether the notebook contains, what you thought of the movie you saw last night. Uh, Petraeus seemed to treat these as personal property, and but the content disagreed with that. Um, there's also the record keeping principles that ARMA has in their ethics of access. They really emphasize accountability and compliance to these rules. And we see these elite figures again receiving different treatment for violating these rules. And it really undermines the entire system. If the rules are perceived as optional for the generals and the presidents and the highest of the high, everything is undermined. Um, in conclusion, David Petraeus and the Black Book scandal is more than a story of just a fallen general or CIA director. It's a it's a cautionary tale about the limits of what is a personal record and what is a federal record. Uh, I don't think those conspiracy theories about whether this was a coup will ever be resolved. Um, but the implications and the lessons for archivists are pretty clear. Security protocols are there for a reason, and they must be applied uniformly, in my opinion. Um, Out processing seems like a pain in the butt. It's very rigorous, and the nature of um, those records is the content, not whether or not they're your own little journal. Um, yeah, thank you for watching. those are my sources that I use from the syllabus. Thank you and goodbye.